I always thought my life would remain comfortably uneventful. The kind of existence where the most dramatic moment of a week was discovering that the grocery store had changed the instant noodle aisle again. So when a beam of soft blue light swallowed me in the middle of the parking lot and lifted me into a ship shaped suspiciously like a chrome teapot, I reacted with the calm dignity of any mature adult. I screamed loud enough to make the beam flicker. The inside of the vessel smelled faintly of citrus and something warm, like a laptop that had been running too long. Panels shifted as though they were alive, forming a narrow corridor that nudged me forward like an usher who had no patience for hesitation. Every step triggered a different light, until the whole ship was blinking like a confused disco ball. Waiting at the end of the corridor was the princess. I didn't know she was a princess at first. She didn't have a crown, just ears. Long, elegant ears that curved upward like stylized crescents, twitching the moment she saw me as if they were scanning me faster than any machine could. She was otherwise human-looking, which somehow made the ears even more alarming. Her eyes locked onto mine, her posture straightening with the kind of confidence usually reserved for people who always know exactly what they want for dinner. She marched up to me, leaned in so close I could smell something floral on her breath, and whispered, "You will be the father of my children, human." My brain performed a hard reboot. "I'm sorry, what? No, absolutely not. I don't even know how to hold a baby properly. I once held my cousin's kid like a malfunctioning vacuum cleaner." Her ears perked, delighted. Excellent humility, a trait rare in potential mates. Then she turned and gestured at a tall figure behind her. "Mother, this is the one." The tall figure, her mother, apparently, blinked slowly at me, her ears flicking sideways in what I hoped was not a predatory gesture. "You chose him, bold, unexpected, terribly human-looking." She leaned in closer. "Does he at least understand hygiene?" "I shower regularly," I said, feeling this was important to clarify. "Acceptable," the mother pronounced. I tried for diplomacy. "There's been some kind of intergalactic misunderstanding. I'm not qualified for whatever job description this is." "You breathe oxygen," the princess replied. "You possess bilateral symmetry. Your limbs are intact. You will do fine." "That is not a high bar," I muttered. The ship suddenly hummed, the walls shifting to display a star field. We were moving fast, the kind of fast that made my stomach file a formal complaint with my spine. A spherical robot zipped by, projecting a hologram of my face with unflattering lighting. "Scanning complete," it chirped. "Subject health mediocre. Subject genetic stability passable. Subject hair density debatable." "Hey." The princess smiled as if this was all wonderfully charming. "You see, already accepted by the evaluation unit." "That robot just insulted me." "That means it likes you," she explained. "If it considered you unimportant, it would remain silent. We try not to bond with silent things. Silent things usually explode." Her mother nodded solemnly. "A tragic cultural pattern." I tried to remind myself to stay calm, but panic was curling around my lungs. Still, a strange detail began to worm its way under the fear. The princess wasn't acting malicious or even domineering. She looked hopeful, strangely sincere, and also slightly too comfortable with abducting me, but maybe sincerity and kidnapping weren't mutually exclusive on her planet. As we walked, I walked, she glided with the elegance of someone who has never stubbed a toe. The ship revealed more oddities. A floating corridor where gravity occasionally forgot its job, making me drift upward like an incompetent balloon. A console that adjusted its shape based on my heart rate and kept turning into soft, cushiony forms because it apparently detected persistent distress. And an AI voice that kept announcing things like, "Warning, passenger emotional instability at 87%, offering soothing ambience," before the lights dimmed into romantic pink. "Stop that," I yelled. "Apologies," the AI said, switching to stern ambience. The lights turned harsh and clinical, which somehow felt worse. The princess tilted her head, ears swaying gently. "You are adapting well." "I am not adapting. I am panicking at a professional level." She considered this, then touched my shoulder gently. Her hand was warm, steady. "Do not fear, my claim is not a prison, it is a beginning." "A beginning of what?" Connection, she said simply. Alliance. Future, we will discuss details when we reach my world. You may reject me after you understand us, but you cannot reject before. That would be unfair. I opened my mouth to argue, but something in her expression stopped me. Not authority, not arrogance, just a quiet, earnest hopefulness that felt too heavy to swat away with panic. Her ears folded softly, like petals closing. For the first time since the beam of light grabbed me, my fear eased, just slightly. Fine, I murmured. I'll listen, but no promises. Her smile lit her entire face. Good. Promises are sacred on my world. Ears must be tied for a promise, and you would faint. I absolutely would. And with that, the stars ahead widened, the ship accelerating toward a world I had never heard of, a destiny I was never prepared for, and a princess whose long, expressive ears twitched with a mixture of excitement and something I couldn't yet name. The planet appeared beneath us like someone had dropped a glowing marble into a pool of ink, shimmering, swirling, too pretty to be real. The ship descended through clouds that sang when we passed, literal harmonics tremoring across the hull. I tried not to panic, but it's difficult to stay composed when the atmosphere is performing musical numbers without your consent. The princess, on the other hand, looked delighted, her long ears flicking in rapid patterns I was beginning to recognize as excitement. At least I hoped that was excitement. If it meant imminent danger, I was already doomed. We landed on a platform that seemed to grow itself out of liquid metal, thickening under the ship's weight. A welcoming committee waited for us, tall figures draped in flowing fabrics that shifted color depending on their mood, which made them look like walking mood rings. Their ears were just as long as hers, some even longer, which gave me the sudden fear that I might be judged based on how short my own ears were. Mine looked practically prehistoric. One official stepped forward, his robes shimmering from blue to green to a worrying shade of orange. "Princess Verana, you have returned." Then he looked at me, his ears drooped. "And you have brought that." "That," I sputtered. "I have a name, thank you." "Do you?" he asked, as though this were debatable. Before I could craft a comeback, the princess placed a protective hand between us. "He is my chosen. Treat him with courtesy, elder." The elder exhaled slowly through his nose, which made a faint whistling noise. "Very well. Courtesy will be attempted." I whispered to her, "Does attempted count?" "In our culture," she murmured, "that is high praise." Great. Couldn't wait to see what an insult looked like. As we walked through the capital, the city revealed itself as a place where physics seemed to be more of a suggestion than a rule. Buildings floated, anchored only by thin strands of glowing filament. Roads shifted shape when too many people stepped onto them, widening or twisting like polite organisms trying to make space. A holographic advertisement drifted overhead, featuring a product called Earsheen Pro, which sparked a horrifying realization. Their beauty standards probably included ear maintenance routines. Mine were doomed. Verana noticed my stare. "Don't worry, your ears are charming." "Charming like cute, or charming like pity?" "Charming like small," she said honestly. Before I could protest, a group of young citizens rushed up, pointing eagerly at me. "Is that the human?" one whispered as though I couldn't hear. Another leaned in. "Why do his ears not express themselves? Are they ill?" "They're just normal," I said. The group gasped. "Tragic," one muttered. Verana shooed them away with a royal flick of her hand, though her ears were trembling with barely contained amusement. "Do not tease him. His ears are simply less communicative." "I'll have you know my ears do plenty," I argued. "They keep my glasses from falling off my face." "Ah," she said sympathetically, "a support appendage." We eventually arrived at the royal hall, a towering structure with columns that rippled like liquid each time someone spoke. When Verana entered, the building hummed approval. When I stepped inside, it made a confused little beep, like a machine encountering an error message. Her council awaited us, half a circle of elders with ears long enough to require ceremonial ribbons so they wouldn't drag on the floor. Their eyes narrowed in perfect synchrony when they studied me. The eldest leaned forward. "This is your selection." "Yes," Verana said proudly. "He looks soft." I threw my hands up. "I am not soft, I am average." "Same thing," another murmured. The council began a rapid exchange in their own language. their ears swaying, flicking, curling, and straightening in a dizzying dance of expression. Verana translated occasionally, though I wished she wouldn't. That one thinks you're too anxious. That one thinks you're too fragile. That one wonders if your species sheds. I do not shed. She looked at my head doubtfully. Are you certain? I groaned into my hands. But beneath the teasing and judgment, something unexpected flickered through their movements, a cautious curiosity. The princess had chosen me, and that meant something powerful in their culture. Even if they didn't understand her choice, they respected her enough to investigate it. After what felt like an hour, the council dismissed us with a wave. "Prepare him," the eldest said. "If he is truly to stand beside you, he must learn our customs." That was how I found myself in a training room with walls that changed color based on whether I was performing well, which meant they stayed an unflattering shade of red for most of the session. Verana guided me patiently through the basics. Greeting gestures involving elaborate ear-mimicking hand motions, the polite way to decline food without insulting someone's lineage, and something called the spiral step, a traditional anti-gravity dance that required more coordination than I possessed in my entire genetic code. I floated upside down at one point, flailing like a lost ceiling fan. Verana stood below me, arms crossed, ears twitching in concern. "You are doing better." "I'm doing worse," I yelled, drifting sideways. "Yes," she agreed softly, but with enthusiasm. By the end of the day, as I lay on a cushioned surface that pulsed gently to match my heart rate, I realized my panic was gradually giving way to something far stranger: curiosity. Their world was bizarre, overwhelming, occasionally humiliating, but alive. Beautiful. And Verana's steady presence, confident, amused, unshakably patient, made everything feel just a little less impossible. Her ears folded warmly when she noticed me watching her. "You are adapting. Or I'm too tired to panic. Both can be true," she said, and somehow that felt like progress. I woke the next morning to the soft hum of the palace walls adjusting themselves to my mood again. They'd grown used to me by now, less panicked vibrations, more resigned sighs. I sat up, stretching muscles I didn't know I had until Verana's anti-gravity dance training had ruthlessly awakened them. Today was the day the council would determine whether I could officially stand beside the princess as her chosen partner, which was a polite way of saying they were going to judge whether I was worthy of not embarrassing their entire planet. Verana waited outside my quarters, looking composed, radiant, and entirely too cheerful for someone about to drag me before a cosmic tribunal. Her long ears shimmered with tiny silver threads woven into them, ceremonial decorations, she explained. Mine, thankfully, required nothing but existing. "You are ready," she said, handing me a robe that adjusted itself to my size with gentle, inquisitive squeezes. "Do not fear." "I'm not afraid," I lied. "I'm terrified." Completely different thing. Her ears curled in amusement as she guided me through winding hallways that reshaped themselves like polite labyrinths. The council chamber opened with a soft, booming note, and inside, the elders stood in concentric circles around a glowing platform. Their ears were tied with elaborate ribbons today, apparently a sign of seriousness. Or danger, or indigestion. I still hadn't learned all the subtleties. The eldest stepped forward. "Human," he said, with the tone of someone announcing a mild disappointment. "The princess has chosen you. You have trained. You have survived. Unexpected. Now you must prove your compatibility." "Survived," I whispered to Verana. "Barely," she whispered back. The first test involved telepathic diplomacy with a being made of shimmering light who communicated exclusively through emotion. The creature projected a wave of frustration at me, apparently testing my resolve. Instead of panicking, I instinctively pushed back with the strongest feeling I could muster, the memory of trying to assemble flat-pack furniture with missing screws. The creature froze, trembled, then bowed. The eldest blinked. "You overwhelmed it." "I think I traumatized it," I said. "Acceptable." The second test required navigating the living maze, which rearranged itself whenever someone told a bad joke. Unfortunately, humor is my nervous reflex, so each time I tried to lighten the tension with something like, "If I die here, please clear my browser history." The walls shifted dramatically, sending me stumbling through new passages. At one point, an entire corridor collapsed inward as if offended. But the maze seemed to learn my rhythm, adjusting with less hostility, until finally it opened into a quiet chamber where Verana waited, smiling as though she had expected nothing less. "You amuse it," she said. "That is rare." "You mean the maze likes my terrible jokes. It finds them nourishing." Of course it does. The final test was the one that truly terrified me, piloting a living starship. The creature, Vessel, sat curled in a cradle of glowing vines, watching me with a single, enormous golden eye. It emitted a soft warbling sound that I hoped was curiosity rather than hunger. "Approach gently," the handler said. "It dislikes abrupt movements." I stepped forward slowly. "Hi, please don't eat me." The ship blinked, then nudged its massive head into my chest like a gigantic, interstellar cat. Verana's ears lifted in delight. "It accepts you," she said. "Why, on what grounds?" "You emit a harmless aura," the handler said. "Comfortingly incompetent," another added. "Wonderful," I muttered. Despite my dread, the creature carried us into the sky with astonishing grace, responding to my hesitant thoughts. The experience was strangely peaceful, exhilarating, like drifting through the universe with a partner who understood my fears and gently hushed them away. When we landed, the crowd watching from the terraces erupted into applause, not because I'd done well, but because I hadn't crashed. I'd take it. The council reconvened, their ears swaying in patterns I now recognized as reluctant approval. The eldest stepped forward. "Human," he declared. "Against all logic you have succeeded, not skillfully, not elegantly, but undeniably. Your presence irritates our expectations, yet harmonizes with our princess." Verana glowed visibly, her skin shimmering with pride. "I told you," she said softly. The eldest turned to her. "Your choice